TAQ Capital, technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is just a quick video on Bitcoin, so I'm going to dive right in here. It's been pretty stagnant over the last 24 hours, but this is the orange symmetrical wedge I was telling you that we were in. Originally, it was looking like this because we had our first hit, then second hit, third hit, fourth hit, and then we broke up out of it. And then I posted that we were going to turn around here for a little bit and then go sideways maybe, and that's pretty much what we did. So now we've got to redraw it. So this becomes our third hit, and now we're waiting on our fourth hit. In fact, we might actually have it if I zoom. We actually do. So you can see we got our first hit up here, second hit, third hit, which was actually the breakout, and now we have our fourth hit. So the question is, do we do a bounce like this and down, or are we going to go across and out? And it could also be third option, hit up, bounce, and up. That doesn't usually happen on these symmetrical wedges. You don't typically get a bounce when you're going up. But it could go either way. If you look at the red wedge, if I zoom out here, the red wedge is calling for us to go up and out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're doing this really weird, long, drawn out, not smooth swoop before we break up and go out. So if we're looking at the red wedge, that means the orange one should break up to the red and then out of the red. So then where do we go from there? Well, this is the pattern of the wedges so far. And if you actually look at this blue one here, we hit here, so then second one, third one, fourth one, and then we hit, and this was how big and kind of awkward, I guess, that the swoop was on the blue one. So we're clearly in something similar to that in this little red one that we're in right now. So the bounce and swooping thing is, I don't necessarily want to say normal, but you can even see here, if I zoom in more, at first, the fourth hit was here. And then when we came up and broke out, I just moved this one up. That became the fourth hit, and then we still did their swoop down and out. And that's what happened here in this red wedge too. Because when we hit here, this was our fourth, and then we did our swoop down and broke out, and then I had to redraw it, and then we do another swoop down for another breakout. So all signs are pointing to up from here. So if you jumped in on this trade, I mean, it's risky because a symmetrical wedge can break either way, so know that. But if you do, up to the red wedge, you're talking about 4.55%. And there's a distinct possibility that if we do break down, we would end up doing something like this before we go back up again and hit. Because you can see, while we've been zigzagging here, there's no reason why we can't zigzag one more time. And you can see that the zigzagging we did here in the blue, once we did our swoop down, was pretty tremendous as well. So to have another zigzag is not unheard of. So just know that if you do decide to do it, it is a risky trade, but it's not without reward, so just use a stop loss. Zooming out a little bit further, obviously, we are in this green wedge where we hit here, up, down, that's 3. Then this was 4, did a swoop. This became 4. Now we're doing another swoop. So this seems to be a pattern that we've been doing here on these downward broadening wedges. So, I mean, we had the blue, we got the green, we're in the current red one, and if I look around, we'll probably find another one. But for now, let me focus on this. Also, just so you're aware, the yellow wedge is the June 18th wedge. So we entered here on June 18th, and then we rode up when we finally broke out on August 25th. So what else do we have going on? We've got the purple wedge, where we hit here, came down, hit here, went up, hit here. This is 3. So this swoop down up and then break out of the red here would mean it's en route to then come back down because we've got to get number 4 in on the purple. So either this purple wedge is drawn correctly the way it sits now, or we need to take it at face value for what it is, which is probably the safer play, which looks like this. So by shifting the point or the hit from here to down to here, we can now make our fourth hit here. So it will actually look like this. So the white dashed line looks like a W. So we came down here, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then we're going to be breaking up and out. It's also possible that when we hit here, we do a swoop up and out like that. And that would actually end the green wedge, which would give us that swoop from its original spot, though this became the fourth hit and this was the swoop. So this would play in line with green. It would also play in line with orange, and orange being the wedge that we've been in since the peak of the market. So up here we had our first hit, second hit, third hit, fourth hit. Sorry, that was bad. And then up here we came close, swooped down. I did not have to redraw the wedge here. We did not hit. So now we're going to be breaking out this way. So if we look at the orange symmetrical wedge that we're in now that I began this video on, that's within the red wedge, this breakout is quite possibly going to be a good 15% run here. Because from where we're currently at, the, 18,919-ish area, going up to just breaking out right here is 15.77%. And who knows where we go from there. That would end purple, that would end green, and that would end orange. Now, bringing the rings back in from the other day, you can see that this would take us up through this ring, and heading towards this ring. So it'll be interesting to see how it interacts right here. This could be a lot of sideways action. We might get bounced around. We might break through this ring, right up it, get rejected, and then come back up for another breakthrough, get through that one, hit this ring, and then come crashing down. But then if that's how it happens, it should find some support here too. So there's just a lot of ring action going on here, and I'm not really sure what to expect. But briefly, in summation, looking at what I have, because things will unfold and then I'll be able to read the charts more at that time. It's looking like we've got some upward action here in the short term, and where it goes from there is, well, really anybody's guess. I tend to think we're looking at the depth of the purple, the green, and the orange wedge, and how it plays in with these circles is going to be interesting to say the least. If you don't really understand what I'm talking about by these circles, check out the video I posted up yesterday that goes into the circles, and it'll show you just how much these circles are respected. So I tend to think we're going to see a lot of action here as it finds the circles. Now, the circles are drawn based on the daily, so let me jump out to the daily really quickly. Well, our next candle is going to hit this ring, and that comes out in exactly 41 minutes. So what happens there, it could be a run up on the inside. We could break through and have a dump, which I don't think is the case, but it's certainly possible. I mean, look at all this room that we have to dump down before we hit this red line at the bottom. That's a big move. So we could dump and then work our way back up. It's possible, like I said, jumping into this orange one right now is going to be a little bit risky, just because it's a symmetrical wedge. But if we look at the history on just this ring, if I get rid of all the other rings and the wedges, you can see it's kind of a mixed bag here. After this breakthrough, we had a dump. This breakthrough is a dump. This breakthrough is a dump. This isn't sounding like a mixed bag, but I assure you it is if we keep going. This breakthrough is a dump. And we broke up through out of this one, which continued to go up. We broke through this one, which was a dump. Broke through this one, which was a jump up. Broke through this one, which was a dump. Broke through this one, which was a what? Looks like a dump. Well, actually, right here on the breakthrough, we rode it up for 2 days, and then we dumped. So this was actually a run up. And technically, before the dump, this was a run up. So that could be exactly what we're looking at. If we hit the ring and run up, we could have a dump on the other side, but that would give us enough time to run up, break out of these wedges, and then hit the ring, and then see what happens at that point. So, final answer, I think we're looking at some short-term upside. Now, turning off these circles because they slow my chart down, let me kick on the Bollinger Band and the Ichimoku Cloud here and see if they're telling us anything more. We've got a mouth here on the 1 hour, so that's, as you know, going to be something that'll get called up in here, but it could be slow moving. Let's see what else we've got. 2 hour, the green, the Tenkan is going to swoop down and try to pick up that candle, so that goes in line with that. On the 3 hour, we actually have the Tenkan above the Kijin, and the next 3 hour is at 8 o'clock here, so in 28 minutes, and is a distinct possibility that, you know, we'll come back up into that space that the Tenkan and the Kijin is making. So, I mean, they're all kind of going in line here. On the 4 hour, Tenkan is below the Kijin. So if, let me zoom in here, if we break up above the Tenkan by 8 o'clock, this could close and pull the candle up even higher. If not, just might be another 4 hours. I think this is going to be slow moving. I mean, we've had a lot of activity here in this zigzagging in the orange. This is a terrible line, as we've been bouncing back and forth to where it's just kind of finding that consolidation bit here now. So this could be slower over even the next 24 to 48 hours. Maybe not, but it could be, because as you can see, these movements are getting smaller and smaller. So then if we jump up more, hit the 6 hour, I mean, the Kijin is looking to drop below the Tenkan rather than the Tenkan shoot above the Kijin. This just means it's a slower move up. Now, if the Tenkan starts to dip and the Kijin stays dipped, that means we're going to be doing a move down. So let's see if we've got any of that on any of the higher time frames. Well, the Tenkan's just dropped on the 8 hour. So this could be, as the Kijin stays straight, this could be a slow moving pull back up into the mouth, because if this stays straight and this goes down, maybe sideways, maybe down again, the mouth in here grows, pulling the candles up into it. So again, supporting the upward moving narrative. Same on the 9 hour. The 10 hour seems like it already tried to grab the candle and missed. The 11, 12, but you know, on the 11 hour, the next one is at 8 o'clock. So if something happens in the next 20 minutes where we get a move, it's possible that we'll already start the bigger move up. And here we hit the 12 hour. Okay, the 12 hour has an enormous mouth here. That does not always mean that we're going to pull up, because the Kijin could just start to come crashing down towards the Tenkan. However, in support of the upward moving narrative, it's distinctly possible, because that's where it looks like all the other signs are taking us. So over the next 12, 24, 48 hours, we could start to pull inside and above this Tenkan, which will then start to close the gap up to the Kijin as we move our way out of the wedges. So that is possible. Jumping to the 16 hour, 20 hour, those are both the same as the 12 hour. And then the daily is even starting its swoop down. So tomorrow, or the day that begins in 25 minutes now, could bring it up inside the Tenkan here. And then over the next few days, we work our way up, out, and finally end these wedges. But that's it for me today, guys. If you found this video helpful, like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I also appreciate you watching. And for now, have a great night, and I will catch you in the next video.